All right, welcome in. I am definitely not Dan Alexander, and I hate the Philadelphia Phillies. So this should be a fun show here today. Honestly, Dan will be back, of course, next week. I am stepping in as he's trying out for a Mexican Beer League softball game, and we'll see how that works out. In the meantime, we do have Bryan Leonard and his brother Bryan Power from a different mother. Gentlemen, welcome in on this Friday. Pleasure to see you. It's good to have a loaded slate of Major League Baseball games ready to go here tonight. And Bryan Leonard, you're up first. And we're going to go a little late night here with Padres and Diamondbacks to start it off. And what are you thinking of this Padres and Diamondbacks game? I think it's an interesting matchup between Hicks and Ciccone. What are you thinking?
It is an interesting game. I'm showing Dylan Cease. It was the starter for San Diego.
Yes, and I'm on the game with the Giants. So that I've already moved a game ahead of you there, Bryan Leonard. So go ahead. You got the. Why don't you go Dylan Cease, Ciccone, and then I'll bust down the Giants game after this.
Maybe we need to bring back our guy from the Mexican Baseball League and let him host. But I thought this was an interesting line on this game based on the starting pitchers. Dylan Cease is off to a terrific start with the Padres, 2.78 ERA, 0.87 whip. And it's the first time in his career he hasn't been pitching his home games at Hitters Park. In Chicago, there's a lot of high-scoring games in Chicago at that ballpark, and he's had his fair share of walks as well as runs scored in that ballpark. But now he's gone to a pitching ballpark in San Diego. Actually, it's pretty much a pitching division. Is only the Dodger Stadium yields a lot of home runs, but I expect him to do very well. It was interesting how he waited so long on the free agent market before he could get a job, but he's pitching very well for the Padres. Slade Ciccone has gotten off to a fantastic start himself this season, but he's only pitched 39 Major League Baseball innings through 2 years. Both of his starts this year were in good pitching parks, San Francisco and Seattle. There's a reason why the Giants and the Mariners starters continue to put up great stats, and it's because of those ballparks. From what I understand from the Seattle standpoint is it's hard to see the ball in that ballpark, so the pitching really dominates in that ballpark there. So now he gets his first start of the season in Arizona, which is more of a middling park. Sometimes it plays a little bit low, sometimes it plays a little bit high, but it's a much better hitter's park than the other two parks that he's already been in this year. I currently rate these teams very close. So from a pitching standpoint and the years of success for Cease, I take him as the favorite in this game, and you're getting him in basically a pick-em situation. I think as good as Ciccone has pitched so far this year, I think it ends right now. Take a look at his minor league numbers, not overly impressive, but he did play in the Pacific Coast League, which I'm very familiar out here in Las Vegas. A lot of these teams play in high altitude, so we'll have to see. But I'm not buying his success as of yet. So give me Dylan Cease and San Diego to win this one in a fair, very fair number, in my opinion.
It's interesting total in this one too, though, Bryan. Right, 9. And I think the first 5 is 4.5 too. So it leads you to think that maybe we're going to get some runs and maybe not as big a pitching battle as the market thinks.
Lined up at 8.5 minus 15. It's been bet up. Those are sharp guys betting the total early in the day, so they feel the same way. They think it'll be a higher scoring game.
Yeah, there could be some runs are coming there. Nobody wants to get to that bullpen anyway between those two teams. Good Lord. BP, what is going on? Never mind, don't answer that. We do have another game coming up for you to break down here, and I do believe this is where Hicks and the Giants are going to come into play here as the Phillies. And sorry, Dan, but I know he's listening somewhere in his tryout down south. But what are we doing with these two teams? Giants at the Phillies, 6:40 start, I believe, in this one. Nola on the mound. He's been, shall we say, unhittable. Is that too much praise for Nola here? What do you think of BP?
I mean, he's been great. Now, let's get a few things out of the way first. As great of a host and, quite frankly, person as Dan Alexander is, I'm glad he's not hosting today because I don't think he's going to like this play. And two, Joe, I'm always happy to spend time with you, too. So that's the most important part. Now, Dan's Phillies have the most wins in all of baseball right now with 21. No denying that. They also have Nola on the mound Friday. And not only has he delivered 5 straight quality starts, the team's won all 5 of those games. The Phillies also have a rest advantage here. They had an off day while the Giants were in Boston Thursday. But this price, guys, in my opinion, has just gotten out of hand. Would you like to guess who has a lower ERA and WHIP than Aaron Nola this season? That would be Jordan Hicks, who you clearly were excited to talk about, Joe. And he happens to be starting for the Giants tonight. Hicks, 1.59 ERA, 0.912 WHIP in his 6 starts, 7th in all of baseball in Stuff Plus. So you could very well take San Francisco plus the half run here in the first 5, but I don't want to leave out a Phillies bullpen, which I'm sure Dan knows has a 7.16 ERA and 1.75 WHIP at home this season. That's very, very poor. So I think the Giants are a very live underdog full game here. If you wanted to play it a little more conservative, lay the juice, take the plus 1.5. I wouldn't fault you, but at this price, plus 152 right before we went live, I think the Giants are a great bet here on Friday.
I think, didn't the Giants just have to empty their bullpen out here over the last couple of days? I guess all their high leverage guys have been used over the last game or two. So it's either Hicks or not. He better go a little while because that bullpen is a little bit worked right now for the Giants. Are you thinking any runs, a lot of runs maybe as well here in this game?
Well, early in the series, the Boston series, the last series the Giants just played, Joe, yeah, the bullpen was. But yesterday they were okay, which is why I didn't